Okay, so today we're talking about something huge happening in Africa that could completely change how we think about money moving across the globe. And look, this isn't about a continent just playing catch up with new tech. No. We're talking about a continent that's literally writing the rulebook for the future of finance. And it all starts with this simple but kind of revolutionary idea: a fintech passport.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get the big picture of Africa's massive fintech boom. Then we're going to zoom right in on Rwanda, which is doing some really game-changing stuff with regulations. After that, we'll unpack what this fintech passport actually is, see how it's connecting the continent, and yeah, even Wall Street, and then we'll wrap up by looking at what this all means for the future.
All right, first up, Africa's fintech revolution. You see, to really get why something like a fintech passport is such a big deal, you first have to appreciate the incredible scale of the digital shift that's already happening across the continent. It's massive. Which brings us to the central question here, right? Is Africa just adopting financial tech, or is it actually building the future of it? Honestly, all the signs are pointing to something really, really big happening.
I mean, everywhere you look, you can see the wheels turning. There are new rules for things like digital currencies being written from the ground up. You have enormous projects, like the entire port of Dakar, getting a complete digital makeover. And the networks that let money zip between countries, they're expanding faster than ever. This is way more than just a few cool apps. This is the continent rebuilding its financial plumbing from scratch.
But, to really understand the engine driving all this change, we've got to zoom in. So let's take a look at one country that's punching way above its weight and really leading the charge on this stuff: Rwanda. What's so incredibly smart about what Rwanda is doing is that they're not just waiting around and reacting to new technology, they are proactively building a safe space for it. The goal is super simple: create a clear, secure environment where the most innovative companies in the world want to come, test out their wild ideas, and grow. And believe me, this isn't just talk. The Rwandan cabinet has already approved a new law for virtual assets. But here's the crucial part. They're specifically focusing it on new technologies, not old-school money. Why? To supercharge innovation in what people are calling Web 3, the next generation of the internet. They're basically rolling out the welcome mat for the future, while still making sure it's safe from crime and in line with global standards. It's a really, really clever balancing act. So, all that smart regulatory groundwork is exactly what makes this next piece possible. And trust me, it's a huge piece of the puzzle: the cross-border fintech passport. So, what is this thing, really? Well, at its heart, it's a landmark deal, a formal agreement between the central banks of Rwanda and Kenya. This isn't just some friendly handshake, okay? This is a deep, official partnership between two of the most important financial regulators in East Africa. Okay, licensed passporting. What does that even mean? Think of it like your own travel passport. Once a company gets a license in, say, Kenya, meaning it's been vetted and approved, this deal lets it operate in Rwanda without having to go through that whole painful, duplicative process all over again. It's basically a fast track built on trust between the two countries. Let's make it real simple. Imagine a payments company. It goes through the whole process, gets its license from the Central Bank of Kenya. Now, instead of facing another year of complex paperwork to get into Rwanda, it just applies for this passport, and boom, with a much more streamlined approval, it can now serve customers in both countries. It's that simple, but man, is it powerful. And this just shows you the night and day difference. The old way was a mess. It was totally fragmented. Every time you wanted to expand, you had to climb a new mountain of paperwork. It meant huge costs and massive delays. The new way? It's integrated. One solid license acts as your foundation, letting you scale across borders quickly and efficiently. For a startup, this is an absolute game changer. And it's so important to see that this isn't just about making life easier for companies in Rwanda and Kenya. This passport is a crucial building block for a much, much bigger dream: the East African community's vision of having one seamless payment system for the entire region. So you've got this powerful regional vision taking shape. Now let's zoom back out, because this Rwanda-Kenya deal, it's just one example of a much bigger trend of innovation and connection that's starting to weave the entire continent together, and honestly, the entire world. Just look at the wave of innovation this kind of thinking unlocks. You've got companies like Nomba getting modern payment tools into the hands of tons of small businesses. You have big banks like Nedbank teaming up with Crypto.com to use blockchain for faster global payments. And then you have global players like Ripple building out networks across more than 60 markets.
Every single one of these is another thread stitching the continent's financial future together. Now, here's the part that might blow your mind. This isn't just an Africa story. The very same ideas about technology, about regulation, that are being perfected in places like Rwanda, well, they are now popping up in the heart of global finance, Wall Street. Seriously, believe it or not, massive institutions like the Nasdaq Stock Exchange are exploring the exact same underlying technology. They're looking into using blockchain for something called tokenized collateral, which is really just a fancy way of turning physical assets into digital tokens to make finance faster and safer. This just proves it. The innovation coming out of Africa isn't playing catch-up. It is on the absolute cutting edge. So, when you put all these pieces together, you've got the smart regulation, these cross-border deals, and the cutting-edge tech. What does the future of finance in Africa actually start to look like? Let's connect those last few dots. It really all boils down to three huge things. First, tearing down the old invisible walls between countries. Second, giving Africa's own tech companies a real shot at growing beyond their home turf. And third, the ultimate goal, building one unified digital market for the whole continent. And make no mistake, for a country like Rwanda, this is not a one-off fluke. They've already built a similar bridge all the way to West Africa with a passport deal they have with Ghana. This is a clear, deliberate strategy to stitch the continent's markets together, one partnership at a time. And all of this leaves us with one last, really powerful question. As the rest of the world kind of struggles with these clunky, fragmented financial systems, could the collaborative, forward-looking model being built right now in Africa actually become the blueprint for everyone else? It's a future that's being written as we speak, and it's definitely one you're going to want to watch.